Hi, gang. In this module, we're going to look at what it means to help to build anticipation, to create engagement, motivation, all of those important affective elements that are the precursors and necessary requirements for students to actually learn and comprehend anything. So they must be willing to engage. And so trying to get students to engage is sometimes more than half the battle. So how often do you feel like this when getting ready for a new lesson? You're all excited, yay! Some of our, if you work with young elementary kids, many of them feel that way. But as the older they get, not so much. So we need to try to find ways that can entice, to lure, to hook, to get them to anticipate. And otherwise, often do you feel it this way? You're trying to be a court jester or a clown to get your students' attention? It is a challenge for us all. So an anticipatory set refers to an activity that focuses the attention of the class and students in order to get ready for lessons that will follow. Anticipatory sets are what's often called in physical education, what oftentimes in social studies, science, English language arts, we might call as pre-reading. But it's the idea that where we're trying to, we might be hooking, leading, it might be also known as a set induction, but where we're trying to get students to be curious, to pique their interest, to want to engage with us. So it happens at the beginning of a unit or a lesson, beginning of a school year. It's important to have students complete a short activity to pique their interest and to build prior knowledge. And those are two corollary ideas. And so sometimes we do one or the other, better when we do both. In FYI, we have hyperlink to where this information comes from. So in order to have desired impact, this may seem kind of self-explanatory, but we're going to state the obvious sometimes anyway, needs to be related to the topic, theme, or lesson of the day. Okay, it can build off a previous lesson or skill or strategy, and then be connected to the current lesson. So then trying to build connections across lessons. And that the question, message, strategy, skill needs to again to be connected to the lesson itself. Otherwise, what's the point? And so then it should be helping to get students ready for the upcoming lesson. So that students, if we think about our competence and confidence and control cycle, that if students feel more competent, we know they're going to increase in confidence. So if we give them a way into the lesson, either through use of picture books or through a video, through an activity that we're going to highlight, then they are going to feel more ready. And in feeling more ready, they're more primed the brain, and then feeling more competent then increases their confidence. So here are from the blog on high interest lesson hooks and different senses to hook students, and for PE majors, that you understand the idea of kinesthetic, but so it might be movement. We're going to talk about anticipation guide, where I normally have students do in using movement, and I usually do that's one of the first things in the semester. Maybe it's auditory, maybe it's music. And so then students are coming in to a particular sound and to a particular soundtrack, and that gets them excited about, oh, what's going on here? Maybe it's visual. Maybe they're coming in and seeing something, a unique setup. In one of the early modules, we talked, had the reading on Hunger Games fitness unit. And so if things are set up to look like Hunger Games, they're going to, that visual, it's going to go, what's going on here? Again, it's a matter of creating a sense of routine and variability, flexibility, and diversity that creates, both a sense of predictability and, what's going, that sense of comfort that happens in predictability, but then doesn't cause them to snooze through too much predictability. So emotional, it's like, so we talked about earlier in the semester about using picture books, both to create auditory connections through use of phonemic awareness, phonological awareness, but also emotional connections. So we know based on the way in book, uh, in um, Keen's book of Essence of Understanding, is when individuals feel more emotionally connected. They're also more engaged. And relevance, it's got to be relevant. Otherwise, again, it's busy work. It's an activity and it may be fun, but it's got to be meaningful and relevant to be for learning.